Not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad her mom died too. Hey everyone, welcome back to Leslie Reads and Writes. And I just really wanted to talk about Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. So I already posted a review about her second book, Half His Age. I know that one, there were a lot of mixed reviews on that one, and a lot of people read it because they liked her first book so much. So I wanted to just go ahead and put my thoughts out there on this one because I absolutely loved this book. And I know I'm kind of late to the game on reading it. Most people who were interested had already read it, but one of the reasons I waited so long is because I had never watched anything that she was in. I was a little bit older when her shows were on Nickelodeon, so it's not something that I was ever watching. But I watched so many YouTube videos of people talking about this book that it really made me curious about her experience. And also, I've been into memoirs a lot lately. I need to make another video on memoirs that I've read if that's something you're interested in. So I literally could not put this book down. I listened to the audiobook, but I could not stop listening to this book. It was so good. If you're unfamiliar with this book, which you're probably not, you probably already know, but it is basically just her experience of growing up as a child actor and specifically her experience with her mom. So her mom really pushed her into acting and wanted her to be able to do this. And the book is kind of Jeanette realizing that her mom was abusive and coming to terms with that at the end of her mom's life. So, one of the things that really caught my attention with this book as I was listening is that I was a product of the early 2000s, and I think this book is the most realistic portrayal of the Mia ED. It definitely shows the downsides to the physical toll that it takes on your body, the mental toll, the way it's really kind of an addiction in a lot of ways. And speaking of addiction, she did struggle with alcohol as well, and I think those kind of issues can kind of go hand in hand. So her life, it was just such a tragic book, but it was so well written and it was shockingly direct. Like, that was one of the things that I liked most about this book is she was very blunt with everything that she said. There was no sugarcoating it. She definitely said the quiet parts out loud. And one thing I thought was cool is that she actually didn't even mention Dan Snyder's name. She did talk a little bit about her experience with him, but she just referred to him as the creator. So that was cool to not give his name any more attention, even though I just said it. I also liked a lot of the dark humor that she had included. That really resonated with me because I am someone who does like dark humor. And it was cool that she could find some of that dark humor in some of these awful situations. I think that finding humor in your awful situations is a great way to try to get over them. Oh, and one thing going back to the ED issue. Sorry, my notes are a little bit out of order just because I was kind of writing them as I was listening. But going back to the ED stuff, her mom was in a coma, and she actually tried to wake her mom from the coma by telling her what her current weight was because it was very low. It was like, I don't know, not even 90 pounds or something. It was very low. But she told her mom her weight because her mom was really the one who started a lot of the ED stuff, and she would even give her like tips on how to lose weight. And it was so hard to read because I do have a daughter, and just the thought of putting that kind of stuff in my daughter's head, it just makes me sick. Like, I cannot believe a mother would do that to her daughter. But she wanted her daughter to be famous. She wanted her to be a famous actor and just threw all the motherly instincts out the window, I guess. I always find the perspective of child actors really interesting, especially because I am a parent. I have a 6-year-old. I just can't even imagine stopping her from being a kid and pushing her into something like that. But these parents, they just wanna live vicariously through their children, and I found it really interesting when she was talking about how fame affected her identity because I'm sure it does. People will view you as your character instead of yourself. I think that's really hard when you're a kid when you're on TV because people are always wanting you to perform for them. She talked about that where she would meet people in person and they would want her to say different lines and basically perform for them, and I guess when you're a kid, it's kinda hard to say no to people. You just build up that kind of resentment or I guess anger within yourself, and then it comes out in other unhealthy ways. But whereas if you're an adult, you're a little bit more you have more autonomy to say no to people. But I definitely found myself really rooting for her through this whole book. Like, I really wish the best for her, and I hope that everything works out for her. And I think writing this book, writing her next book, I really hope she writes a third book because I will read everything that she writes. I just really enjoy her writing style. One thing with this book too, as I mentioned, she's very blunt, and she was not trying to make herself look better or look appealing. And I think that is kind of an issue with some of these memoirs. So I read Paris Hilton's memoir, and I felt like some of that was more for PR. Like I don't want to say, obviously I'm not saying that she's lying, but with some of these memoirs, it's almost like a whole PR thing to kind of influence your view of them. But with Jeanette McCurdy, it's like she was really just getting her story out there and saying it the way she saw it. And despite the book being fairly short, it was a pretty quick read. I think I listened to it in like a day or a day and a half. It was very quick. But as soon as I finished it, I immediately wanted to reread it. I haven't yet because I just have so much stuff I'm reading right now. But yeah, I will definitely be listening again. Maybe I'll read the physical book this time just because sometimes it's a slightly different experience reading physically versus listening. But everything about this book I just enjoyed so much. I mean, hearing about her story, about the dynamic between a mother and a daughter, I found very interesting. Just her going through her life and all of her experiences. It was just I know I just keep saying it's so good, but it's hard to describe it any way else other than what I've already mentioned. So even though this did have very good ratings on Goodreads, nothing is ever 100% 5 stars. So if you disagree with any of this, definitely let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your perspective. And if you're someone who did like this book, if you have any recommendations for me, especially memoirs or fiction or nonfiction, I don't care. But I really love to read memoirs lately anyway. So, as always, there's a link to the book in the description if you want to check it out, which I highly recommend. And I am a new channel and I'm very small. So, if you could just like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.